Good evening, folks. Good evening, good evening. Come on in, come on in. Come on in. Time now is 6:57. Come on in, come on in. Just talking dogs tonight. That's all we're doing with Jimmy Abshire. Share, like this feed. If you will, go ahead and invite your friends and followers. Let's see what we can do tonight, fellas. Excuse me, I hope you all's work week has been well. It's Friday night. The mood is right. Come on in. I'm an old man now. I'm bound for glory. Still drivers, where rainbows never die. Powerful song. Come on in, folks. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Let's talk some dogs tonight. Hey, guys. Mr. Michael Daniels. Hayes. How you guys doing? Come on in. Come on in. Like I said, like the feed, share it. Invite your friends and followers. We're going to bring Jimmy on around 7 o'clock. Hey there, Mr. Babbitt. Share, share, share. Thank you, Mr. DeWise. Thank you. Share this feed. Somebody that you didn't know knew about dogs probably wants to come on here tonight. 6:59. Come on in, folks. Come on in. Share, share, share. What's going on, Abshire? Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for sharing this. Thank you guys. I know, Mr. No. Let's get started. Yes, sir. Always try to let the guys come in and build up a little bit. He said, "Where's Jimmy?" We're waiting to add him on, Mr. Jackson. That's where he is. What's going on, Mr. Stewart? All right, Abshire. I'm looking forward to trying to add you on. I don't know how strong you all's... what's going on, Mr. Santos? I don't know how strong you guys' signal is, Abshire. If it's not super strong, it's not going to let me add you guys. If it doesn't, then I'm going to give it a few minutes. And if it's not, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and call you. We're going to have to go. We're going to have to go audio because I'm not going to. I don't want to go through what we went through in times past or so forth. We're going to go ahead and expedite this. I don't want to waste anyone's time if we can't, or if we can help it. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and call him. Time now is 7:01. Go ahead and call him real quick. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Ought to be interesting. Hello. Abshire? Okay. try him again. Tell you, we got all the modern technology, right?
You hung up on me, buddy.
I couldn't hear you saying anything, brother.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Let's see here.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Volume down on this computer.
You say you can't hear him, Mr. Jackson? He hadn't said a whole lot just yet. You can't hear him at all? Jimmy, say something. Let's see if the guys can hear you. If they can hear you, then y'all give me some thumbs up as he starts talking. Say something if you will, Jimmy.
Well, I'm sitting here looking at everybody, looking at responses, but I can't seem to connect. I'm under Jill's account, if you remember.
Oh yeah, I think what's going on is I think your signal. If your signal is too weak, then what'll happen is it won't let you chime in. So I don't know what's going on there, but they all can hear you. So worst case, we'll just roll with audio. I didn't want to do that, but they all can hear you. They said they can hear you well.
Let's get it on.
Yes, sir. So Abshire, this is Jimmy Abshire, you guys. For some of you all that don't know, this is the guy that campaigned Junie, Abshire's Levy Road Junie. If I leave anything out, I mean his prefixes as far as champions, his titles are too extensive. I can't even begin to start. And if we're able to connect you guys, what we'll do is we'll reach out and we will go ahead and add him on so we can do a via video interview. But Jimmy, if you will, just tell the people who you are, where you came from, because there are some people that may not know who you are. And just where you got your start from, your first beagle, however you want to flow, brother. It's up to you. You got the mic. Go ahead.
Oh, man, I'm just like everybody else's story. Just a young guy, always had a dog around. We owned quite a bit of land. I had the opportunity to go out and kind of run around, enjoy a farm. A lot of old men in my life still are. That seems to be the guys that I always listen to as the ones that actually knew what they were talking about. I mean, if you see a man sitting down with a pocket knife doing a little bit of whittling, you might want to listen to him, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I don't know. I've been running dogs for a minute. I love to run beagles, man. It saved my life, probably.
Wow. Who did you get your first beagle from, someone asked?
I moved to Shelby County in 1988, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
As far as buying dogs, Earl Brenner had I'd never met Earl, and we were working together, and me and his wife, Patricia. And I hooked up with them. I bought one off of them. His name was Gibbs Creek Clyde.
Come on, Clyde.
Pretty nice pup, but, as times moved on, dogs move on, it was what a great time I had with that old dog. And then from there, man, just rolled on.
And when you say rolled on, you went to some strong dogs, and that's what. Now let me ask you this, because I know a lot of people, you and I talk extensively, but I know some people may not know exactly how you got your start, post the Earl Bruner Clyde dog. How did you come up to getting into Pine Mountain and all those tough dogs and the Star Dog and all of those different dogs that just went on to do so many great exploits? How did you come into those dogs?
With that being said, obviously those dogs put me on the map, but there was a line of dogs before that. Once or Sharp owned, and it was a Cody Sharp Kennels. And I had an old dog named Jackson. He was a great dog. He put me on the map in the ARHA. Well, from there, that's when the Pine Mountain comes. As dogs get older, you tend to look at different things. I love Jackson. Jackson's probably to this day he is by far one of my most favorite dogs in the world. He just seemed to know what I was thinking. But there again, he was a great dog. I knew he was out of Mikey, but I did not know what the bottom side of him was 100% for sure, but my friend assured me he was out of a bitch called a Switzer Hills Dottie B. David Slog owned. Great bitch. I mean, I was fortunate, man. I was around some good dogs early on.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Man, man. Now, when you say that Mr. Stewart says he remembers old Jackson, nice old hound, when you get to talking about those guys, you know, who were some of the people that you would say you got up underneath, you know, how Mr. Stewart was just talking last week, and how we always talk about having that person, that successor, that teacher that can bring you up underneath their wings. And, you know, who were some of those people that were most inspirational and most influential to you in those times of your life?
When things started getting kind of serious, Earl Bruner was the first. Earl took me under his wing, and he's just like a good pair of jeans. I mean, anytime I need something from Earl Bruner, we've traveled a lot of miles together, and, you know, I love him like a big brother. Throughout the Shelby County Club, another one of the big hitters was Wayne Waits. Wayne was with me through good and bad. When I was at my worst, still my best friend. When I was at my best, he was there. I fell in with Walter Sharp. I mean, the rest is history. Me and Walter, he taught me how to run a dog. You know, everybody teaches you something. Earl Bruner taught me how to do it right. Wayne Waits taught me what to look for in a good dog. Walter Sharp taught me how to run a dog. So, you know, I was very fortunate. You know, how much better could it get when every one of them's got dogs in the Hall of Fame, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Man, that in itself is powerful, man. When you think of a person like Mr. Wayne Waits and all those guys were, of course, before my time. But just listening to you talk about those people and how you run a dog, I mean, I know you know you're the Mr. Run them till they melt gentleman. So obviously they thought the same exact way. How important, and we wanted to go into it a little bit. How important is it? And I don't want to really jump before we'll put the cart before the horse. But how important is it, Abshire, to know exactly what it is that you're looking for in a hound? Know exactly how important it is to know what it is that you're looking for in a family of hounds. Like, prime example, and I'm going to simplify this question. You came under Wayne Waits, you came under Earl Bruner, Mr. Walter Sharp. Somewhere up in there, in that timeline of your life, as far as a beagler and a competitor, you begin to look at what out of the T-Rex or Shorty of those dogs, how did you go about coming into contact with those dogs, and how did you go about your selection on those dogs?
Well, actually, this is where another lifelong friend comes into play, Bobby Best. And Bobby started going to eastern Kentucky, and he started bringing a few dogs back. Well, they were really good dogs. And, you know, they were just really nice hounds. I mean, I was kind of on the top of my game with what I had, but he started dragging dogs in the country that, you know, I had to take a second look at. The reason I did, I just could not believe the stay power that they had under them. Well, little did I know that was Rufus Stewart. That's where the dogs were coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyson, it was unbelievable when them dogs started coming into this country. And, you know, Rufus was on top of his game. And thank God he was. We brought some fabulous dogs in this country. Looking back now, man, I wish some of us would have had the sense to hold on to what we had.
Wow. Man. Now, out of those dogs that were being brought down, who would you say were some of the first premier dogs that got off the boat that you began to lay your eyes on? Which one would you say were the first ones you began to lay your eyes on that you say, you know what? After seeing this dog right here today, they left nothing on the table. They left nothing in the field. They didn't overwalk. I mean, they didn't overrun. Who is it that I saw today that sold me on this particular line?
Without a doubt, Pine Mountain Chester.
Wow. What did he show you, and around what time did he show you this stuff? What did you see that day when you saw him the first time?
We were running some land, me, Will Mason, Bobby Vest, Alan Vest. We were running a place that went on to, that was really close to Bobby's house, and I had Jackson. Bobby had Chester and 2 or 3 different dogs out of the mountains. And Chester absolutely schooled Jackson that day. And I got to watching that, and I got to watching that dog, and how much different that dog handled a rabbit than my dog. And, I don't know. I just came up in an age, man, where great dogs ruled. You get you a good one, they still do. It's just, I've kind of went a different direction with dogs. There's nothing wrong with great dogs. Nothing. I love them. But, I just kind of went to the pedigree side. The Pine Mountain Chester was without a doubt the first dog that really turned my head.
Wow. Now, I hear a lot of people talking about the toughness, and I've got the chance to see a handful of dogs that come out of that stuff, but they begin to talk about the toughness and durability and sensibility and huntability and jumpability and all of that stuff. As you begin to see that stuff, what was the first pup or first hound that you yourself physically got a chance to have out of that you got to you got to make your own conscious position or whatnot to say, this stuff is exactly like I thought it would have been. These other dogs had exactly what I was looking, what I saw in Chester, or this dog had exactly what I saw in Chester. What was the first hound that you had out of that line or out of Chester? Was it Junie, or was it someone else, or who was it?
Yeah, it wasn't out of Chester. It was out of Kingwood's T-Rex, bred back to her daughter, Pine Mountain Gracie. The bitch would never quit. She would run till she dropped. She was a tight-mouthed bitch, but the reason was it's a father to a daughter. Rufus, he said something the other day on the internet, man. It really made a lot of sense. Whenever you have your pups are so predictable, they're going to be the same color, maybe blue tick, red tick, whatever, but they've all got the same conformation. And, man, he made some crosses there, just boom, 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 that were just, great crosses. I mean, kudos to him, but Pine Mountain Gracie, she hunted, couldn't jump a rabbit to save her life, but she was one of the hardest hunting dogs I've ever seen in my life.
Wow. Now, did you end up getting something off of that? That was the first dog that you got a chance to obtain something or acquire something from? That was your first pup out of that?
That was my
first dog.
The first thing that I got.
Now, before we begin to go on, I am going to hit some of these questions before they pile up on us too heavy. One gentleman asked a question, says, who was the best jump dog you have ever seen?
Wow. What's the next question? Let me think about that.
One gentleman says, ask him about the first time he helped judge a cast in Cumberland Gap.
That had to be David Miner. That's my man. Me and David, man, we've had a lot of good times, Miner. That had to be David Miner. I run my ass off, and basically David stood back and didn't do nothing, and he got the judge's award for it. I'm like, are you kidding me? That was the old Little Pack days. Good times, brother.
Oh my goodness! Look, then I gotta throw old True under the bus. He said, ask him, did he ever own a black and tan before them blue ticks?
I never owned a black and tan before them blue ticks, but I did own a black and tan that John and Lewis gave me. He got to be about 23 inches tall, and I ended up
What in the world? Let me see. Let me grab one of these. Bobby Vest asked, he said, ask him about Big Boy.
Big Boy, I bought him off of Bobby when he made a trip back. I love that dog. Hardest hunting dog I've ever seen in my life. Bobby, I don't remember what he was out of. I want to say it had to be Spur and T-Rex. That's all we had back then. T-Rex Spur, you know, and then work its way back. But, yeah, I would say Big Boy was a super nice dog, Tyson. He was a big, long male, had a lot of white on him. I was running one night, and he got copperhead bit. Well, he kept on running. I didn't even realize it till the night was over. I was actually soloing back where I lived at. And he coming that night, his face was as big as a bucket. But everybody in eastern Kentucky knows what to do when a dog gets copperhead bit, so no big deal. But super nice dog.
Yeah, you put your mouth on the wound and suck the venom out, right?
No, negative.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me see. Another guy asked a question. Let me see. Oh, said ask him about the tree farm mafia.
It had to be Chad Blair. Tree farm mafia. Yeah, me and Chad used to run a place down in a different county, undisclosed location. Good times, man. It was just an old tree farm, man. We had some good running there. I had to teach his dogs how to run a rabbit. It worked out pretty good.
Man, that's all right. Now, one gentleman asked the question. He says, "What kind of feed do you feed?"
You know, I came back, and I've been feeding Victory, but when it's on for real, there is no substitute for Purina. I mean, Purina, it is what it is. Purina, you can't go wrong.
One gentleman asked the question, says, "What is one of the biggest differences in dogs' attributes from the far north versus deep south? Have you noticed any, or isn't any difference in your opinion?"
I mean, deep south, I thought that was slower dogs. We're all running harehounds in Kentucky. People get that confused a lot. Listen, everything in Kentucky that's running these trials, you go back and look at them, man, 95% of them, that's harehounds. I don't know where people get that confusing at, but I always thought that south was a little bit slower. That's where Buddy's Iron Eagle come from.
Louisiana, wasn't it?
I believe it was. Absolutely. And he, you know, I never seen the dog run. I don't know if anybody listened that's seen the dog run, but I think what is that called? Deep South? Okay. Yeah, I've never ran it. Don't know anything about it. I just know Midwest is the best. That's all I know.
Oh man, here we go. We're gonna stay diplomatic. So look, let me ask you this, and I'm gonna ask one of the questions that Mr. Stewart just asked. When we talk about the Abbey dog and those dogs like that, as those crosses begin to be made, and you know you begin to get into the place of knowing that you had something special. At what point did you know when you looked at Junie? At what point, when you begin to look at Abby and Star and all those different dogs, did you know that you had a dog that you would be able to not only gun hunt, but you can take to the field trial and should be able to do pretty decent with? At what time and at what point in those dogs' life or career, or however you want to say it, did you recognize that?
I mean, if your trial dogs aren't your gun dogs, man, there's something wrong with your breeding program, right?
Yeah, you better believe it.
I mean, really, that happened 100 years ago, but I started noticing that Abby was a pretty decent dog. My good friend Lynn Perkins was running Jenny for me, and then I kind of got to running Abby by herself, and man, she just, you know me, I'm a solo guy. I seen something happen in 30 days. It you know, when it's a good dog bloodline and it starts clicking, how much better can it get, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say the 30-day rule, explain to the people that don't know that a little bit about that, if you will. And I'm going to take some of these questions that are coming in. When you talk about 30 days, I know you, and I'm going to touch on it a little bit because it made you famous again. You asked the question, and we might as well deal with it because this is what it is. We're just talking. You asked the question, or you stated a comment the other day. I agree 100%. Some may not have understood. It might have been misguided, and maybe even misinterpreted. You said if a dog can't run 30 days straight, I can't remember exactly how you said it, but if it can't do that, then it shouldn't pretty much live. Explain that a little bit in detail, a little bit more. I have a full understanding of what you're talking about, but someone may not. And if they have an understanding, help give them a better understanding of that.
If you choose to take that dog that you're feeding, or any of the dogs that you're feeding, if you can't go grab that dog off the lead or off the chain and run him a couple hours anyway for 30 days straight, you might want to reevaluate your bloodline. I don't know. That's where this Pine Mountain came into play. Man, there was plenty of days there. I was trying to get ready for hunts, and I was running like crazy, and I never really hurt either one of those dogs. I've blown dogs up. I've never blown up a Pine Mountain dog, or have I ever heard of anything in that line blown up? You've got to be able to take those dogs out, man. Whether it's 40, I'm not going to get out and do 30 days in the dead of winter. No. But what I'm saying is, when the running's right, it's not, killing you. Mosquitoes ain't eating you up. If you can't run your dogs 30 days, something's wrong. I don't know. I thought everybody could do that. 400 comments later, I found out different, I guess.
Mm-hmm. and Mr. Stewart asked the question. He said, ask him how long has he actually watched a hound run consecutively?
That's a pretty good question. Probably 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking back about some good running. I've probably watched 6 good hours of running. Several times, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, how? Another gentleman asked a question. What made you breed back to Iron Eagle?
When I took that line of that she was, I had backed myself into a corner. I needed to do something else. So I'm just like Dexter. Once that dog leaves your yard or anybody else's, and you've bred those dogs, it becomes my line then. Because now I'm starting to make the choices for that line. In my personal opinion, I got myself too tight. I had everything but mouth. And I just went up there to breed the Samson. Dexter told me, don't do that. He said, breed the Iron Eagle. He said, they're not going to bark every 100 yards. I had faith in Dexter, and thank God I did. It's hard to realize, Tyson. I'm around some really good houndsmen. There's a lot of good houndsmen in this state right here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. That's just unequivocally. And that's one thing that led me to stay in the state of Kentucky so far for so many weeks, because there were so many quality breeders and so many quality dogmen there, and most of them that have done any kind of great exploit, they actually gun hunted. And they didn't just gun hunt locally. Some people took the dogs all over the place, and the ones that couldn't do that, they hunted intensely in the area that they were from, or with the people that they were in the mafia with. But it's funny to me that, a lot of the times we talk about bloodlines, and some may even ask the question, well, man, I didn't know Abshire was a breeder. I didn't know he bred a lot of dogs. Well, the statement that you made to me the other night made me know that, I couldn't have chose a better person to come in and sort of merge it together and bring it together like a book, because a lot of the times, and we skipped over it with Mr. Stewart, because I know he's also known to be a conditioner, but I thought about it and I said, man, who's one of the premier conditioners around, in that area? And I thought, Jimmy Abshire. You look at the Abbey dog, you look at Junie, when you took him to the world and so forth and so forth. And I won't go, too far into that. I'll let you explain that a little bit. How do you prepare, for a hunt, major hunts? What, I'm not saying spill all of your beans, but what's some of the things that you believe in doing on a consistent, persistent note to get that dog into shape? How do you know that dog is tough, and how do you know that dog is rock hard, and et cetera, et cetera? Can you explain it a little bit?
You ought to be able to look at a dog. If that dog's yours and you're running that dog and you know your dog, you ought to be able to look at that dog and tell it's in shape. But, I'll use a good example there. McGuire's. They've won more world hunts than, I guess, anybody out there. They win a lot of dogs at once. I'm completely the opposite of that. I want a dog to be able to, in that loss, I want it to pick up and go. I don't want it looking back, trying to figure out. Your dog barks 20 feet behind it, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. I want my dog to be able to go through that check. And the only way that I found out I was successful there was by soloing before these big hunts. I really love the solo dogs. And if the guys would be honest with you on here right now, there's probably 95% of them hate soloing. Me, on the other hand, I love it.
How important and how pivotal was it for you to do that when you were campaigning? Tell us a little bit about Junie when, from the start to finish. Some people don't know. I had a guy reach out to me earlier. He's on here. I'm glad he's on. Thank you for being on. He reached out to me earlier and he said, who is Jimmy Abshire? And I began to tell him, I said, you tune in tonight at 7 o'clock. He'll tell you best. So I don't want to do a whole lot of talking. I want you to tell these people what's, who are you? What Junie's career was about. How did they go about, tell us a little bit about that, if you will, elaborate.
I asked myself the same question when you asked to interview me. I was like, Jimmy Abshire, who is he? But anyway. I got Junie as a young dog, man, and he was 6 months old. I turned him loose with a dog called Slide Dan the Crusher. Unless there's some other little fat guys on here, they won't even know that dog. Pete Baker owned him. That's what I started my dog with. He started the first time I took him out at 6 months. And he had this ferociously big mouth. I was like, oh my gosh. I run with Pete for about 30 days, and I just dropped away from him because his dog was nuts. He was a true old-style little pack dog. And I got to run the dog, and he just got better and better and better. And I took him to an ARHA trial. ARHA that's my first love, so I will never, ever walk away from that as far as my feelings. However, you know how that goes. But anyway, I started doing good in the little pack trials and had a good time, and boom, won a hunt, boom, won a hunt, boom, finished pretty quick, had a good run at it, decided I was going to go to the AKC, went straight out of little pack after winning the world in 2007 with the dog, went to the Midwest, and was dealt a reality check that at that time, little pack dogs were not successful in the Midwest. They were too wild. And pack running a dog, you're only going to get one thing, wild. That's my personal opinion. So I dropped out for a while, kind of got my thoughts together about the dog, brought him back about, 6 months later. I just couldn't get over the hump. I had a win or two, but I couldn't get over the hump of that third win. Got discouraged, came back, and finally got it. And he was a good dog. I mean, he was the same dog every day. That's a good thing about the kind down dogs, is that you can take them out today after a week when you take them out, they're just the same dog. They're not no extra mouth. They're the low maintenance dog that I ever ran in my life. That's why one of the main reasons I love that blood so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you begin to go on into the world, I believe you placed at the world one year, and then you went back the very next year, won it.
He did.
And then tell us about the story of that. I don't want to leave anything on the table. I'm gonna pull it out of you. I hear you drawing back on me. I'm gonna pull it out of you. Tell us about that when he won with what was his toes broke or his toenail was sinking. How was that? What was that like?
That was the year before. He won it in 2007, 2006. I don't remember what he placed, but he placed in the top. I was thinking he placed in the top 5. Somebody on here will know, but he did. He had a broke. It was his middle toe on his right hand side, and he jumped off the daggone tailgate up there at the world. I had him. You couldn't kill him with a shotgun. He jumped off the tailgate. I don't ever let my dogs jump off the tailgate. I'm handing one down, and he jumps off, boom, right there on that gravel up there at the world. Man, I was like, oh, crap. I knew something was wrong, but you just think they're going to set it down. And he didn't set it down until 2 months later.
Mm. And he still finished in the top 5 with that situation going on.
Well, you're going to be dumb. You got to be tough.
Mm. Isn't that something? He said, Bobby Vest says, 3rd in 2006 on 3 legs. Sounds a lot like the male that old Shane Seaman has. Said he got it done with 3 legs. That's pretty. That's pretty. That's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful.
The only difference was Judy was on 3 legs. I remember one of my buddies, Judge, and he said, "Boys, I've judged a lot of dogs. I've never seen one beat you all as bad as I have on 3 legs as I judged this calf. It was great."
Man, that is awesome. That is awesome. Then you go back. Now let me make sure I'm right. Now the Abby female that you had, Abby was what? The niece to Junie? She was out of Junie's sister, bred back up.
Abby's full sister. Junie's full sister. Bred her to Arn Eagle, and that's where I come up with Abby.
Mm-hmm.
I love Arn Eagle blood. I just like a dose of it, kind of like your bacon. I mean, my foundation is what it is. But I do like the Arn Eagle. I think it crawls good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. One gentleman asked the question. They said, do you feel rougher dogs are winning in Midwest, or are line/track dogs winning in Little Pack?
Ask me that one more time. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
He says, do you feel rougher dogs are winning in Midwest, or are line/track dogs winning in Little Pack?
I haven't been to hunt in quite some time. I can't legitimately say. I get a lot of phone calls, but I can't personally say I've seen this, I've seen that. I don't know. It seems like that. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen it with my own eyes. I've had a few phone calls. I don't know. If judging's getting a little bit on the line in the Midwest, I like to see it come back, man. That is the big brother without. AKC, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see it get it all back together.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna ask you a serious question, Jimmy. I won't get too left field. I promise. I'm gonna stay in the pocket. How important? I know. What was you gonna say? I know we can't get too specific as far as when you're talking hypothetically speaking, or you're talking about opinion or whatever, but when it comes to you putting in hard work, let's say you just really banged the dog out, you've got that dog rock hard and so forth, but you run through a cast that some people may not understand exactly what's going on or how this dog is conditioned to run, or the specific style of this dog, or the hours that's put in. When you go to look at that, I can't compare, of course, last year and this year and so forth and so forth. But as far as the different people that are knowing exactly what a dog is, when you said it or made that comment about Midwest, do you think now, and I'm not bashing, we're not going to get off on a judge trip, but do you think that it may be a simple fact but that some people don't understand exactly what a dog is, or exactly what a real, true conditioned rabbit hound is, and that may be why the decline has started so aggressively? Do you think that could be one of the reasons? We won't get into the others, but do you think that's maybe one of the reasons?
I don't know. I just, anytime there's something negativity out there, it seems to draw attention. You're a big target. The Midwest is a big target. The internet makes it bigger. There's a set of rules set forth in a rule book. And if you're not judging by them, then it is what it is. I don't, you've got to judge by the rules. I'll sit here and contest this all day long with somebody. If it doesn't matter what format you're in, there's still rules. You have to abide by them. Common sense is common sense, but if you go outside of common sense, you tell me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. So I guess we'll take a moment and back out of that. One person asked the question, he says, Jimmy, in training, how much in solo time to pack time do you incorporate?
Me personally, I'll solo a dog. 3 to 5 days, throw him in a pack of 3, pull him out, throw him back in the pack. I just don't run large pack. Everybody's like, why don't you run large pack? I don't know. I just never liked a bunch of dogs on the ground. I don't think a lot of people do, but some people, when you got a lot of dogs, that's the only option you have. With me, I've always just kept about 3 or 4 dogs. Every now and again, you might see me with 5, but 3 dogs is about my max. I just don't want a bunch of dogs to feed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which actually makes the selection process harder if you think about it.
Absolutely. I'm going to go through one of these questions. Let me see. Let me scroll back up. Someone asked a question and said, what is the best dog that you've ever saw?
Yeah. The best dog I ever saw. I'm going to tell you my own. No, I tell you what, there's a dog back in the day called Big Time. And when I was judging, I was a young guy. This is probably about, I don't know, somebody on here could tell you. Mark Swartz ruled the roost, and I judged him and his brother several times, and I judged Big Time one day, and man, he looked good. Probably one of the best dogs I've ever seen in my life, to be honest with you. Bruner's Kentucky Lucky. I love that bitch, man. Well, what a great dog.
Mm. And we still got to get back to the best jump dog too.
Best jump dog I've ever seen. Bruner's Kentucky Lucky, or Bruner. Yeah, she was right there. She was a nice bitch. Great dog. I see a lot of good jump dogs, man. You got to have that down here. So that's what I say. When you ask me that question, I'm thinking, man, everybody that's my friends, we all got jump dogs if we want to run a rabbit.
Mm-hmm. One gentleman asked the question, said, how important is the saying accomplishment over style when judging in AKC?
I just want to see a dog run to overtake its game. And you look at your bylaws, that's what it says pretty much in the bylaws. I just don't want a dog crazy doing it. You know what a good dog is. We all know what a good dog is. We rabbit the way it should, stay where it should be, and run it, not pursue it, try to overtake it, it gets no better than that in my personal opinion.
Mr. Stewart asked the question, ask Jim, what does he think about the bench shows and are they important?
I think bench shows are a total waste of time, and, you know, if your dog's pretty, to me, pretty's out in the field. Bench shows, the only thing they did is keep me out of the field in little pack. I mean, if you've got a good-looking dog, you know what everybody else does, too. Do I have to give you a trophy for that?
Oh, my goodness. One gentleman asked the question, says, why doesn't he trial currently?
Because I don't have anything. I'm going back through the cycle after going through a divorce and losing my ass. I sold it all for this woman. Now I'm divorced and I'm back, so I've had to come back. Don't worry, though, whoever that was. Tell them, you just hide and watch. I'll be back.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You better believe it. Another gentleman asked the question, your buddy Mickelson says, has he ever won an ARHA trial on a coin flip?
If I did, I don't remember it.
What are some...
Who asked that question, by the way?
Steve Mickelson. I knew he thought you got, I knew he knew you get a laugh out of that. I knew he knew you get a laugh out of that one. What are some overrated hounds you've seen? Be gentle.
Who is some overrated hounds that I've seen?
What are some overrated hounds you've seen? I think they're trying to set you up.
Exactly. Man, I don't know. I mean, let me think. But so basically, you're asking me, what have I seen that really sucked, that didn't make the hype that it was supposed to be?
I'm pretty much.
I don't know, guys, and that's kind of a weird question.
Somebody said, "Tell the truth." You can just plead no contest. I think that.
I don't know, man. I was going to plead the fifth on that one. I don't know.
Well, one gentleman said, "What's the best dog he has ever sold that he wish he hadn't?" Let me see. He said, "Since you only keep 5 tops, he's good to be able to do that." I think I already know who you're going to say, but
What dog I sold, I should have kept? Tri-State, remember Casey.
Tell us a little bit about that dog. I've heard you say the name before, but I don't remember the dog right off.
Eddie O gave her to me, and I don't even remember exactly how she was bred, but she was 15 inches. When I sold her, she couldn't turn a rabbit, but she could fly. And I ended up getting rid of her. Man, what a dumbass I was. I figure in a lot of pedigrees now.
Put them on the ground, huh? Let me ask you this question. One gentleman says, does he think, or Van Siegel says, does he think the fact that there are more ARHA influenced guys judging in Midwest now? Let me try to put this together. Says, does he think the fact that...
Absolutely. That would be the answer. I don't even know what the question is, but he said ARHA influence in the Midwest. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Whoa. Well, there it is. One says, at what age do you know a dog is going to be special?
About 10, 11 months if you've been fooling with them. 4 months into it, I don't start dogs early. 4 months into it, you start running around 6 months old. 10 months old, you know if you got something a little different. Year old, you're quite certain you got something.
Now, you tend to have this phrase that people say, yeah, I think that's a little harsh. Let's call the ASPCA about the whole rule of you saying, run them to they're running over their tongue or walking on their tongues. Explain that a little bit. I know what it means, but explain it to somebody, because there's a lot of people on here that actually just really don't know. You would think they do, but they really don't. A lot of people are just gun hunters. They've never had a trial dog. They never had a paper dog. They don't know what you're talking about. They maybe run an hour and a half, 2 or 3 times a week. What does that mean?
The dog's got to be able to run in the heat. He thinks he's found the bottom. He's stepping on his tongue. He's still running a rabbit. That's a dog right there.
Now, would you say that's so important that you pretty much, going back to the combat mind, that you battle test that dog in your own private affairs or in your own private time, so when you go to the trial, it doesn't embarrass you? That's what you're getting at, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just want to bring some clarity there.
You're spot on. If a dog can't get out there and run, if you've got the right line, I ain't gonna say you can't bust the dog, but if a dog can't get out there and run when it's 90 degrees, we have a lot of hot weather down here, and humidity goes with it. And if you're running your dogs, they got to be able to take it. That's one thing about this line of dogs, they can take it. They just keep on running. Will they run till they melt? They better.
Bobby Vest says, ask Abshire about a dog named Susie.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that was Jenny's sister.
What kind of hound was she?
I don't even remember. I've had a few dogs pass through my hands, but they ain't went nowhere but Bobby or Will or, we did a good job of holding that line up. That's why I say I can't believe that now I'm having to come back and try to find it, because it's not the same as what we had. Lucas made a really good comment on that. Every one of those Pine Mountain dogs looked, they had blue ticking, red ticking, but they all had the same characteristics. Thick-skinned dogs, good grief, you couldn't give them shots, couldn't cut their toenails, and every one of them was like that. So, kind of tells me that somebody got it. But we had so many dogs pass through our hands there for a while. Bobby and all of us, we had a ton of these dogs. Did anybody ever answer that question about where Kingwood Shorty went?
I don't think they did. I
thought about that today, man. I would love to know. But I always heard he got sold for big money and went overseas.
And that's what I was trying to figure out myself, because I was trying to touch base with some Canadians earlier today. I think I do want to say that I do believe that Winkler was from Canada. If somebody's on here tonight and they could steer us into the right direction, where was Mr. Al Winkler from, and where did Kingwood Shorty go? One gentleman asked the question, Abshire says, was Coleman's roll-on buddy overrated?
No. That's a good dog.
Another gentleman.
There's a lot of good dogs out there. Here's one thing I see now. Nobody has got a family of dogs like we had. We stayed right in the house. And now these pedigrees are so mixed up. Now that I'm trying to get back, these pedigrees are so mixed up with different dogs that, very few have got a line of dogs that they can say, hey, look at here. These old studs have really become a lot more valuable. If you can get a hold of them, the guys that got what you want, they're not selling.
Now, would you say, of course, I know it's a rhetorical question. It pretty much answers itself. But would you say that having that family like that, it helped assist? Of course it did, but it helped assist your success, your accomplishments, and made everything just that much easier?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You tell me. I mean, Dexter said it. You got a barrel full of water and somebody pees in it. You want to drink it?
Absolutely not.
I mean, we had it. We had it. It was right there. I mean, Dexter, Rufus, everybody had done their homework, and we just kind of wrote in and bred off of it.
Mm-hmm.
We made some good crosses. We made some bad crosses. So did they.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make no bones about it. I mean, I know for a fact Dexter won't put up, and Rufus wouldn't either. I mean, but there were some good dogs come from that line of dogs. I don't know if Rufus ever told us the other night how he come up on the Northway stuff, but that T-Rex over Northway, it was working.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't see any of the Northway dogs in the old Pine Mountain dogs, but anymore, you can tell when a bloodline starts getting watered down. The dog you see out there on Junior right now, very few of them look like him. The one dog comes to my mind, Rigger. Rigger looks a lot like Judy, just the red tick version of him. His sister was a red tick. Abby's mother. You just don't see that strong carry of color on our dogs anymore.
One gentleman says, was Thunder Blue better than Reggie?
I ran Thunder a lot. He owned him, and we ran many a time. Me and him and Chad Blair ran a lot together. Thunder was a good dog. I mean, Reggie was a good dog. If I had to pick one, I'd have to have a scorebook and a pencil.
Let me see. What's this other one on here? One gentleman says, do you think the 30-day training regimen should be a dog at a certain age?
No, absolutely. I mean, a dog's got to be able. You can't take a year-old pup out there and do it. I don't think they're physically mature enough. But a 30-year-old dog, at 3, a dog can't do what you need it to do. But think about it. There's a 3-year-old dog. They ought to, if you're running your dog at all, that dog ought to be getting ready to hit his prime. To me, 3 to 7 is when a dog's on point. So,
Let me ask you this. What do you think the largest difference is between Little Pack and Midwest?
Obviously none right now. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, and there again, I'm just telling you off for what I get phone calls and get told. It don't matter if you're in or out, man. If you've been in, you're in. As far as knowing, man, I like to keep up what's going on. And you still got friends out there running. It is what it is. I mean, it just breaks my heart if the Midwest has become that. Just because, man, what an organization that is. The Midwest AKC is. I love that. That meant more to me winning than anything in the world was making a field champion. Over a world hunt, over anything, making a field champion, that's when you know you're on point.
Now, would you say that was the greatest accomplishment with Junie that meant the most to you? Over winning the world was making him a field champion? It was? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, sure was, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, he made a field champion. Look, that shows up in red on a pedigree. To me, that's like picking the right door, which is the price is right. You just won making a field champion. You get to see that for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Let me see. What was this? Yeah, I knew that was it. Mickelson. Steve says that he was from Ontario. I thought he was. I knew he was. Yeah. talking about Winkler. He said he was from Ontario. One
Did you
says,
ever get to see did that guy ever get to see Kingwood Shorty run?
Mickelson, you ever get a chance to see Shorty run? I know he'll answer in just a second. Let's see if he did. Yeah, he will if he. I'll go to this
I've
other.
heard a lot of stories about Lewis Long told me that Kingwood Shorty was a big, powerful dog. Said he was a nice hound.
He said no.
That's all I can tell you.
He said no, he didn't. One gentleman says, does Jim believe in real tight line breeding or inbreeding? And if so, when do you know an outcross is needed?
3 generations into it. I mean, see, this is where all of our opinions start to differ. If I take an uncle to a niece, that's inbreeding to me. If you take a mother and a son, that's inbreeding to me. I mean, if you stay within a family, that's inbreeding to me. So, yes, inbreeding, that's the way I would go.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get to some of these other questions that were coming in. One gentleman said, "What are dogs that he is finding now missing from his old dogs?"
Jimmy. But there again, I'm full of young dogs right now, so I'm on the comeback tour. It's just right now, man. When you've had a good dog in your life, my God, they run you. It's just like anything else. I've been blessed to have a couple good dogs, and man, it's so hard to come back. You know, it really is. I'm not gonna lie about it, guys. If you've got something that you really love out there as far as your line's concerned, at any cost, hang on to it, because it's so hard to get back into it.
Now, by hanging on to it, do you mean breed right, freeze semen, possibly eggs if you can do that?
All 3.
One.
If you think you're going to go through a divorce tonight, please get your best dog, your stud dog, to your best friend. Do something with it, but hang on to it. Just don't, I sacrifice my dogs to make somebody happy that in turn I get a divorce from. So I get away from however many years to satisfy somebody that it didn't work anyway. Hang on to your dogs, man. Your dogs are going to be with you. There's been plenty of times, a lot of us, that's the only friends we had. It's our dogs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One gentleman asked the question, says, what do you think about Kentucky Lucky?
I think Kentucky Lucky is the best dog to come out of Reggie. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I say the same exact thing. I 1 or 2 times I got a chance to see him run. Taylor had him in great shape. Congratulations, Taylor, if you're on here.
Bobby Ness told me he beat Maple Valley Remember Jimbo to Kentucky State Hunt. That's all I can tell you. And that was my dog. So that's something. I like Travis, man. Shout out if he's listening.
Absolutely. And Bobby Bell says, ask him about Spade running a rabbit so fast he was passing the pack when he came back around.
Bobby's a smart ass.
Crazy.
No, man, I've seen Spade run so far in front of me, and Will Mason up there on the coal mines back when Spade was young, and we called him Seabiscuit for real. I mean, oh my God, that dog could run fast, man. Bobby at one time was sitting on some big nails, and they could fly. He wanted to run with everybody. None of us would run with him because we didn't want to get our dogs strung out.
What in the world? Mickelson said, did Junie ever run a large pack on hair trial? And if so, he said, if so, how did he do?
Not to my knowledge, unless somebody else took him, but I never took him to one.
Let me see. That's not a question. He says, Glomsky said, do you still have the Coal Mine Classic jackets?
fucking jackets I won the first business thing. I'm going to hang on to them, baby.
Absolutely crazy. Van Siegel said, which person looks better? Who looks better in a Tula? Him? He says, I think he said Van Sitter or Blairzilla. Man, this guy, he is hilarious. Man.
Come on, man. You don't give me a free tattoo? Come on, dude.
So, let me see. Going through, make sure we caught up now. So, let me see. Who is it? What did he say? He said, what do you think? One guy said, what do you think about half brother and half sister cross?
I don't think it's a good cross. For some reason, as weird as this sounds, I'm a father-to-daughter guy. You know, you start being a brother and a sister, it kind of weirds me out.
And then that's interesting. And, you know, we're going to have a talk about that later. Van Siegel asked the question, what AKC win was his favorite, and tell us about it and why.
It would have to be the day I finished my dog duty, man. I mean, it was unbelievable. Dino was down. You know, Terry Gray had a dog on the bench. Gosh, there was an Indian Hills dog on the bench. Larry Flannery. Yeah, that's right. God, I can't remember third place, but that morning it was snowing, and it was on that day. That was my best AKC win the day I finished.
Mm-hmm. Young man says, what other blood would you consider if you decided to go with a different line to start off with?
I've never considered that. Next question.
Let's say if...
Pace setter. I'd go pace setter.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody remember pace setter Butney?
For me. You got me beat.
Chico Lopez, that's who I'd go with.
Hey, look, Mickelson said something from Michigan, I am sure. Everybody knows, Mickelson, that you guys, y'all have the foot power. Nobody can deny that. I don't think that. Do you guys agree that Michigan, and some people may not know, Michigan has the foot power? God knows that.
Yes, sir. Steve Mickelson, a friend of mine. I'm with him, ride or die, man. He's my buddy. I love Steve, man. He just, you know, everybody from Michigan, including my girlfriend, they are the most straightforward people I've ever ran into in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
A little bit different than a Southerner, so I will say that.
Oh, my goodness, you're crazy. One gentleman says, what do you think of the field trial judges today versus back in the days? And we won't hover there too long.
I mean, whatever. I mean, back in I remember when Little Pack was respectful, and you know, everybody had swinging dogs back in the day, but they didn't swing bad. They swung enough to win. You know, my whole confusion about ARHA to this day, and I love it, is how big is the tech area? Nobody ever had that question or had that answer. So let's put that to the side. AKC, I don't. Why would you pick a dog up the first series they're on the ground within 7 to 9 minutes when they're running with dogs they've never seen before? Supposedly you had them run up, so they're jacked up. They don't know these dogs. You turn them loose, and you pick them up so quick. Every first series till you get on a rabbit. I mean, man, these dogs, you get big males or big females. I mean, all of them. They're jacked up. They want to run. Mm-hmm. But people are so quick to pick them up now. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And especially after you put so much time in the dogs, you know, a person like yourself, I think it was you that was saying something about you need to have so many hours on a dog before you take that dog to a hunt. How many hours do you like to put on a dog before you go into the trial? And then how many gun seasons do you like to have underneath that dog before you take him or her to a trial?
Hours-wise, gosh, I don't know. I mean, if you know the 2 to 3 hours a day and you got running, you're not out there kicking briars, and you're running a dog, I mean, I think 3 hours a day is sufficient if you're getting trial ready. As far as an age, you know, when I'm guilty of it too, I've entered dogs 2.5. Honestly, I think a dog has got his head screwed on straight at about 4. But who can race a dog, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people just keep pouring dogs out there. I think that people are getting dogs out there that are they're getting them out there too early, and they get stupid because they're running in a pack, hard-hitting dogs. Do you think that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
I mean,
and then
I think the you know, everybody wants to have ribbon, but you have, I don't know, you have to have your dog's mind right. I don't know, man. I mean, I know there's some good young dogs out there. I'm not saying that. It's the pack pressure is what I'm saying.
absolutely.
You start trialing a dog at too young of age, they're going to be an idiot in about a year. I honestly believe that.
And I don't know if you remember. I'm going to call it back to your memory, to your remembrance. If you don't remember, you and I were sharing a conversation some time ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't know, maybe longer. But not only do you have to have the dog's mind right, but the handler, the owner, the breeder, he or she has to have their mind right, because the dog might be right and you may not be in your own, and you may not even know or understand what it is to do next with that dog, or what it is to do now with that dog, or to have patience, or to, like you just said, you know, think about how many dogs that are out there now that have been blown up. You know, they could have easily been finished or whatever, but, you know, these guys, they never went to a trial, but they run 17, 18, 20 dogs every time they cut a loose on the ground just to see who's the maniac running in the front. And that dog never gets a chance.
You're right. I mean, you can't. I've seen a lot of good dogs get blistered over the years, and it's made them, now they in a check, or they should have finished, they didn't because they got blown up. You know, that is, I don't know, that is, I hate to see, I just can't stand getting these young dogs. You have to know when to run a young dog with an older dog.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to pull that dog up and foot, he's got the nose and he's giving plenty of mouth, but maybe he's a little bit slow, but the breeding's there. Throw him in there with a faster dog. Let that faster dog teach him what's going on, but don't just keep him in there with a faster dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Absolutely.
mean, the dog's got to, if the breeding's there, the dog can pick it up and run that rabbit. When they're young, I'm all about getting them going, but, you know, if they just boo-hoo a track out, which they're probably not going to, but, you know, it's just getting that older dog in there. And see, everybody's like, well, I like a puppy starter. Well, I don't have a puppy starter. I have to start my dogs now, but I always did. I started my dog. And, you know, once that dog was established and it's figured out this is a rabbit and I got to run it like this, throw something with a little bit more food on them.
Mm-hmm.
But don't just leave them in there for the next year. Let them run with it for a few weeks. Let it pull its guts out. It'll eventually learn how to pick that head up and go on.
Mm-hmm.
People are bringing those dogs to trials, I feel like. I don't know. I mean, for some reason, field trialing for forever, if you want to deer break your dog, bring it to a field trial. I've never understood that. Why would you bring any dog to a field trial that would run a deer, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But I've seen them do it for years.
Mm. Look, Bruner said, ask Jim if he remembers the second day gun hunting in I think he means in Indiana. And we turned dogs loose, and he had one under the truck hitting the converter and muffler. And at first, Jim didn't know what was wrong with them.
No, I don't remember that. I remember me and Earl going to Indiana. I remember the cattails, but I don't remember anything about a converter. I don't remember that. I'm sorry.
All right. One person says, "How about PKC trials? They sound interesting."
They do sound interesting, but if you can finish a 9-month-old dog, how hard is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You said UKC, right?
PKC.
Oh, PKC.
Uh-huh.
Money, yeah. I mean, yeah. But you're still, the ones I went to, which was only, well, no, Earl might correct me here. I judged the first PKC trial that there was, and it was in Indiana, and Earl Brenner won it. Won a pretty good little chunk of change. Bobby Vance come in second. But then I went to one years later with Wayne Waite, and it was kind of different. They didn't really judge on little pack rules. They judged off the UKC rules. You stood outside with the handlers and called your dog. I don't know, there's something about that. I don't know, man. I don't get it. Too much room for error to me.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. I definitely say so. Mr. Scott Calkins up from Michigan says, if Jim was going to run hare in the north and in deep snow, what line of dogs did he think has a nose for doing so?
Probably Grampy. Y'all know too, the Woods' dogs. I mean, that line's proving itself again and again. They come from the north. They're still in the north. I run with them in the south. They could run rabbits when nothing else could. You know, I'd have to go with my old line, Bruce's old line, whoever's line you want to call it. But Grampy's a pretty tough line. I love to come up north. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I just know what John or Cooper's dogs look like, and they're good northern hounds.
Mm-hmm. Vance Siegel asked a question. He says, I heard from a little birdie that 13-inch in official dogs that are measured out by AKC have to carry a 15-inch card now. If this is true, does he agree with that, or should the owner have the opportunity to pre-measure?
I mean, he's asking his own question. He's like he's talking about himself, man. This is exactly what Danny Van Sickle did, brother. Good grief. I told him, man, I said, man, it's a good dog, man. Put that dog where he belongs. I'm in the 13th. And no, you won't. Somebody come and bust him. Then he finishes in the 15th. It's like, why did we do that to begin with? What, he had 6 wins? Good grief, Danny. Come on, dude. You know what size the dog is, man.
Man, this is crazy. One young...
It is crazy. I told you. It is crazy.
Look, y'all, I'm not messing with y'all tonight. One young man says, can you reel a dog back in that shows too much foot at a young age?
Why would you?
I knew you was going to say that.
Well, I mean, why would you? Once again, we're back on the bylaws. I want a dog to overtake its game. Okay. Well, I mean, why would you reel in foot if they can run it with confidence and nose? Okay. I mean, why would you?
Right. If the dog is not screwing up, then there's nothing to reel back in. If the dog is rough and crazy, then there's something.
Reel in, man.
Yeah.
He's doing what he's supposed to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what everybody in Kentucky gets confused. We all run harehounds, guys. So don't be mad if, you go up north and buy one and bring it back and it has a trouble circling a cottontail when it's run hare all its life. That's what our dogs are bred to do, is run hare, not cottontails. So that's the icing on the cake. We teach them how to run cottontails. It's a
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, I want you to preach that, brother, a little bit, Deacon Abshire. I want you to preach that you just talked about. When you buy a dog, and we're not going to hang up on it, we're not going to stay on here all night. But what you just said, we always talk about that. And you know we do. We're not fussing. But when you buy a dog out of the north, and I'm so glad you just said that opened the door. When you buy a dog out of the north, and this is not knocking guys from the north, because we understand once again that we do have northern hounds. At least majority of us do. Somebody may run Rob's Diamond 2 or Coco Star or whatever, Shorts Pro, but if you do, hey, that's your thing. What's that?
Peaceful booger, man.
Right. But the thing is this. If you buy a dog from the north, that's an international, that's a field champion, that's a Canadian national, whatever that dog is, if you buy that dog and you know that you don't have hair down here, yes, all dogs should be able to run any kind of rabbit if it's a rabbit dog. But don't get mad. Don't be ready to shoot the hunter and all that stuff, because you got to understand where you got the dog from. So to go on that just a little bit, Abshire, you just said it. I mean, I know I answered it a little bit, but maybe if they hear from someone that's more accomplished, they listen to it a little bit better, I guess.
Well, I mean, I don't know why they would listen to me anymore than they'd listen to you. If you buy a dog from Dexter Raffet, where do you think Dexter Raffet's previous breedings come from? It wasn't from Owensville. It was from Paul Cormoni. Paul Cormoni run harehounds. Why? Because at once they run hare. It's a simple concept. They turn them loose in the pen. They go to work. I mean, it's harehounds. And you're blaming them down here. You're mad when you take them out. Well, they can't swoop for a rabbit. Well, because they run hare. If you know how they run hare, just like a fox, they go through the country, they make a big circle and come back. You know, man, quit shocking your dogs. Trust your dogs. If you don't trust your dogs, you don't need dogs. I mean, but they're harehounds. I don't care. I'll argue that all day long with any breeder on here. Kentucky is running northern bred hounds. They're harehounds. They're not cottontail dogs. You know, it's a simple concept. Cottontail dogs can't run a rabbit as fast as what we've all got. If they did, we wouldn't need the Midwest, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Pretty much.
That's it. I mean, there's no pretty much to it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, man, we're down here trying to run these damn cottontails on these northern bred dogs, but you get mad if that rabbit starts tucking and turning, and you can't seem to dial him in. Man, pull him out of the pack. That's the best advice I can give you.
Greatest advice that you can have. I mean, it's common sense.
Is it not the truth?
Yeah, it's the absolute truth. It is common sense. And I wish more people would act upon it, you know, and exercise that God-given sense, because I don't think we do. And all the times you get mad and get ready to shoot the dog, it's not the dog's fault. It's what it is, you know. And let me see. Stewart says a northern bred hound just about has to grow up running cottontails. A harehound trained on hare will rarely ever learn to run these twisting cottontails. And that's so true. I mean, I myself personally, you know, Jimmy and I, we talked about it. I've grabbed a couple of dogs, and they couldn't absolutely do it like some of these dogs that were born and raised here. Now, Jimmy, what do you think about this? When you go out of the north and you get puppies, or you get a female and you breed your own dog, you create your own stuff, you do your own line, and you begin to establish, or try to establish anyway, make the collective attempt and the effort to try to establish something here. And you raise that harehound up to the way that you want, it seems as if it's just a whole lot better. The transition doesn't have to be made, because you're taking, you know, that hare blood, and you're starting where you wanted to start that dog. You're putting that dog in the area or the setting that you wanted that dog to be immune to the setting of, versus you going out here and spending thousands and thousands and thousands, or whatever. If a person gives you a dog and you bring it down here, you can't be upset. It's what it is.
I mean, you just said it all. You know, you just said it all. Don't be mad at the dog. It's just, what's the old saying? Don't hate the player, hate the game. I mean, you're down here trying to break these northern bred dogs, bred cottontail, and you know, it's tough bulldog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, runners are always good down here. Everybody down here wants foot. Okay, everybody down here wants a dog to be able to get up and fly. Well, our rabbits, you might have 1 out of 10 that'll do that. They twist and turn.
Mm-hmm.
So that dog has to understand how to do it. I mean, it don't matter if he's northern bred, southern bred. If he's bred right, he'll adapt to what he's got to do. That's where your breeding comes into play, these northern dogs. You know, if the breeding's there, they'll adapt to cottontail, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You run them enough, they'll get it. You know, I mean, run them enough, what's enough? You run them a month or so, they'll start figuring out what's going on. But we're all raising pups. So, you know, I mean, there again, it is what it is. It's just, it's tough world. You gotta get out there and get in it.
Mm-hmm. One gentleman said, "What are your thoughts on crossing harehounds with cottontail dogs?"
Me personally, why would you? I mean, that's just, why would you? If you want to do that, then yeah, that's your deal, but then run progressive pack. If you bring a cottontail bred dog, you bring a harehead bred dog, you know, here and you get them at 2 years, get them straight from Michigan and raised here in Kentucky, turn them loose. That cottontail dog will look like a meaty bug. But, you know, something about them northern bred dogs. Why did they originally start coming down here? I remember the first one I ever ran against, I was with Jack in a field trial. Somebody said the name Brinko. I never heard it. And that dog went out there and whacked me. It was the first dog I ever remember seeing out of Brinko's kennels. And he put a hurting on Jackson. I've never seen nothing like that in my life. I never heard of Brinko. And, you know, there just wasn't a lot of AKC dogs around when I was coming up.
Well, let me ask you this, Abshire. Out of all of what you've experienced, out of everything that you've got a chance to obtain, the accomplishments, all of that, you know, the time spent, the people that you were able to be under, out of all of that taken into consideration, what would you say same thing that I ask everybody else, what would you say that you would want to pass on to the next competitor before they come into that place of competition, before they begin to come into that vein of wanting to be, you know, the next top dog or to finish a hound or anything? What would be some of the advice that you would give to them? What would you say from your heart will be one of the some of the main things that you would tell somebody? You know, right now this is what I would say. You know, from having had to getting back to having. What would you say to those peoples or those persons right now?
Well, absolutely. I mean, keep your focus on God first off, but just stay within a family of dogs. Stay with something. I don't care what it is. If you like your dog, you make the crosses that need to be made. Quit jumping around. Stay within a family. It doesn't matter what dog it is. If you don't have the knowledge, that comes with time. But stay within a family of tighter bred dogs if you're the right line. If you're not, then you see something you don't like in a dog, then, you know, man, ask somebody. You got a good friend, they'll tell you the truth. Anybody that loves you will never lie to you. And if you're running off with your best friend, which most of us are, then, you know, you're going to get the truth, whether it hurts or not. You know, man, this bill trialing takes up a lot of your life. It takes up a lot of your money, a lot of your time. It can cost a lot of things, marriages, whatever. fun to compete, but don't always feel like you got screwed because you don't. There's a lot of times you just get beat and judge all you can. Because judging, you're just merely window shopping. That's all you're doing. Don't be afraid to judge. Just know what the rules are. If you don't know the rules, ask. I can't think of anywhere I've ever been somebody didn't offer me a rule. Mm-hmm. I think judging's important. Let's just get the hunt over. In little pack, every round they're asking for judges. I can't judge anymore. I'm not physically able, but I love to judge. I absolutely loved it. The AKC is a little bit different. I think they get their hunts over too quick now. I don't understand how you went from a 2-day trial to having it up at 2 or 3 o'clock. I guess the number of entries, I don't know. But, it's just important, man. Become involved. I think it's one of the number one things. But truly, just keep you a good line of dogs. Don't lie to yourself. Don't be kennel blind. Don't be person blind. Just look at the dog and let it rip. It is what it is, man. If I beat you, let's shake hands. If you beat me, let's shake hands. But if somebody's got something that's much better than what you got, you might want to look at breeding to it. Don't breed to nothing you can't see running.
If you had to choose one right now between gun hunting and trialing, and this is the note we're going to end off on.
Gun hunting, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, field trials, man, are going to come and go. I've had more fun gun hunting than I ever had field trialing. Field trialing's too stressful, especially in the AKC. Little pack's a little bit more fun until you get that grand champion class, and it gets real serious. Gun hunting runner, oh, God. I love the gun hunt.
How important was that? And I know I'm trying to close, but how important was that when you got ready to start campaigning the dogs? Had you not gun hunted, do you think you would have been anything, or do you think you would have accomplished any of what you accomplished, or to the extent of what you accomplished to today?
I mean, there's nothing more important in the training of a dog than fur in its mouth. It can't eat that trophy, but it sure loves fur in its mouth, and I love to get it to it.
Yes, sir. Man, I tell you, I was going to go ahead and close, but I'm going to answer 2 more questions, guys, and we're going to go ahead and sign out. One guy says, David Miner asks, he says, ask Jimmy about Jack, Kevin Cook's dog.
Jack?
Yeah.
The swingest son of a buck that ever took a breath of air.
Look, one of my North Carolinians, he asked a question. He says, what is the difference in a little pack hound here in North Carolina versus Midwest hounds?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I guess nothing no more. But it used to be little pack, you had a swinger and you knew it. That's what we judged for. Not so much. I love to watch one run and rabbit, but if he swung a little bit to jump out there and get it, it is what it is. I love little pack. Midwest, when I was running it, if your dog got a little bit crazy, they give him a few minutes. The mare, 2, 3, whatever it takes, came off the ground, he was gone. I mean, I hear there's not much difference now.
Jimmy Abshire, I tell you, man, my friend and brother, I appreciate you coming on tonight, man.
I love you, man. I'm glad you gave me an opportunity to talk.
Yes, sir. Love you too, man. You already know, man. I told you, we say it all the time, man. The blood was out here, man, and it was in us. We shared the same. It wouldn't make us any tighter, man. I tell you, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all of you guys coming on. I thank you for being transparent, brother. You know, you said some things that's very sentimental and very sensitive. A lot of guys wouldn't have said, and 1 or 2 that has came on, we're grateful that they have said it. But, guys, I appreciate you guys, man, and we're going to do this thing again next Friday. And, again, we're going to go off on the note of Jimmy Abshire's theme song, Steel Drivers, where rainbows never die. Thank you, guys.
I'm an old man now, can't do nothing. Young folks don't pay me no mind. But in my day, I sure was something.
Thank you guys again. I'm going to be right back on next Friday. If you guys will share this feed. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Thank you, Mr. Minor. Thank all you guys. You guys make it make it easy. I tell you, you know, getting these guys, these people on the line is not always easy, but we're grateful. Give all thanks and honor to God. I tell you, He's the one that's making it all happen, guys. That's what it's all about. Appreciate it, Gomsky. Thank you. Thank you. Got a heart for the underdogs, people. That's why I do what I do. Got a heart for them, I'm telling you. Honor the honorable. Stay true to yourself. That's what's most important. Appreciate it, man. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Delbert.